So this is the fourth book in the series. It's called You know what, I'm going to turn... Shall I turn this off, or do you want to see it? Oh no, you probably want to see it when I read from it. It's the fourth book. Look how pretty it is. Co-creation. That's Anastasia. And that, I guess, is Vladimir. So, let's read about the secrets of co-creation. Hi, Notramus. Thank you for the follow. Thank you very much. I am using Zoom, yes. Good old faithful. Alright. Sorry, I'm just super excited. I don't like bending the books. You got your Chippy Dean. Nice. Welcome back. I don't like bending them, but I'm gonna have to. Okay. It's a shame Hawk's not here for this. I think he likes these books. Although, he's probably read them, so. Okay, I'm going to read this first little bit to you. Because we're not starting from the beginning, so. But that's okay. You don't need to. It says, Anastasia herself has stated that this book consists of words and phrases and combinations which have a beneficial effect on the reader. This has been attested by the letters received to date from thousands of readers all over the world. If you wish to gain as full an appreciation as possible of the ideas, thoughts and images set forth here, as well as experience the benefits that come with this appreciation, we recommend you find a quiet place for your reading, where there is the least possible interference from artificial noises, motor traffic, radio, TV, house appliances, etc. Natural sounds, on the other hand, the singing of birds, for example, or the patter of rain, or the rustle of leaves of nearby trees, may be a welcome accompaniment, I can't say that word, accompaniment to the reading process. Shut up. Okay. So we have that. We have a nice relaxing atmosphere. So let's begin. Chapter 1. All this exists right now. I shall tell you about co-creation, Vladimir, and then everyone will be able to provide an answer to his own questions. Please listen carefully, Vladimir, and write about the Creator's great co-creation. Listen and try to understand with all your soul the aspirations of the divine realm. After uttering these words, Anastasia fell into a silent distraction. She looked at me but said not a word. Her distraction was probably due to her feeling or noticing in my facial expression signs of incredulity in what she might have to say about co-creation, about God. But really, how could I, or anyone else for that matter, not entertain at least some measure of incredulity? Incredulity. I know what this word means. I know exactly what this word is. It's just, is it incredulity or incredulity? Incredulity, I think. Basically means non-belief. It's incredulous. It's hard to believe. What could not this passionate recluse dream up next? She doesn't have any historical proofs to offer. If anyone can talk convincingly about the past, then surely that would be the historians and archaeologists. And there's lots of talk about God in the Bible and in the books of other denominations, in all kinds of books, only for some reason when they talk of God, they can't seem to agree. Might not that be on account of the fact that nobody has any convincing proofs? There are proofs, Vladimir. Anastasia suddenly broke in confidently and excitedly in answer to my silent question. And where are they? All the proofs, all the truths in the universe are preserved forever in every single human soul. Lies and falsehoods cannot survive for any length of time. They are exposed by the soul. That is why so many different kinds of religious treatises are thrown at man. Lies constantly need new disguises to survive. And that is why mankind is constantly changing its social structures, trying to find in them the truth it has lost, yet only distancing itself from the truth even more. But who has proved and how that each one contains the truth within, in man's soul or any other part? And if it is indeed there, then why does it stay hidden? On the contrary, not a single day goes by, but in the sight of each one of us, the truth strives to bring itself out. Life around us is eternal, and it is truth, through the truth, that eternal life comes about. Anastasia quickly pressed the palms of her hands to the ground, ran them over the grass, and then held them out to me. Look, Vladimir. Perhaps these will dispel your doubts once and for all. I looked and saw in her outstretched hands seeds of grass, a small cedar nut, and some sort of bug crawling. I asked her, "And what does this all mean, the nut, for example? Look, Vladimir, such a tiny wee kernel, and yet if you plant it in the ground, it grows into a majestic cedar. Not an oak, not a maple, not a rose, but only a cedar. The cedar in turn gives birth to a kernel just like this, and it will contain, just as the very first one did, all the information about its pristine origins. If millions of years ago or millions of years from now a kernel like this makes contact with the earth, still only a cedar will sprout out of the ground. In it, in every kernel of God's perfect creation, all possible information has been fully implanted by the Creator. Millions of years may go by, but the Creator's information will never be erased. And man, the apex of creation, has been given everything by the Creator at the moment of co-creation. All truths and all future achievements have been inculcated by the Father, inspired by a grand dream in his beloved child. Well then, how do we attain that truth? In the final analysis, from somewhere within ourselves, from our kidneys, our heart, or our brain? From our feelings. You should try to determine the truth with your feelings. Trust yourself to them. Free yourself from mercenary dogmas. Well, okay, if you know something, say it. Perhaps somebody will be able to understand you with their own feelings. What is God, for example? Can scholars draw a portrait of him with some kind of scientific formula? A formula would extend many times around the earth, and when it stopped, another would be given birth. God is no less in worth than what can be born in one's thought. He is the firmament and the empty space, and that which cannot be seen. There is no sense in trying to understand him with the mind, however keen. Take all all the formulas on the earth and all the information in the universe as a whole and squeeze them into a tiny kernel of your soul and turn them into feelings. And let your feelings then unfold. But what am I supposed to feel? Talk in terms more simple, clearer, and more real. Oh, help me, God, Anastasia pleaded. Help me with the creation of a worthy image out of today's word combinations. Well now, not enough words, eh? Why don't you go and take a look at a dictionary? It's got all the words people use today. All the words available at the moment. But modern books do not contain the words your forefathers used to describe God. Are you talking about Old Church Slavonic words? And even earlier, before the Old Church Slavonic alphabet was invented, there was a means by which people set down their thoughts for their descendants. What are you talking about, Anastasia? Everyone knows that our proper writing system came from 2 Orthodox monks. Their names were something I can't remember. Cyril and Methodus, perhaps you have in mind. Yes, they created our kind of writing system after all. It would be more accurate to say they changed the writing system of our forefathers and foremothers. What do you mean they changed it? They were following orders to make sure the culture of the Slavs would be forgotten forever, to make sure the remnants of knowledge of our pristine origins would disappear from human memory, and a new culture would be born, so that our peoples would subject themselves to different priests. What have writing systems and a new culture got to do with that? Suppose children today were taught to speak and write a foreign tongue, and forbidden to express themselves in one they already know. Tell me, Vladimir, how would your grandchildren learn about events of our present day? In people deprived of a knowledge of the past, it is easy to inculcate new teachings simply by treating them as important, and they can tell them anything they like about their forebears. Are we good? Activating troll shield. Put it up there. When I get into this book, I really get into it, so I won't be able to reply as easily or as much. Thank you for the follows. Once the language is gone, culture went along with it. That was the aim, at least. But those who formulated that aim were wholly unaware that the sprouts of truth remained unseen forever in the human soul. All it takes is just a drink in a single drop of dew so pure for the sprout to grow and mature. Look, Vladimir, please accept my words and try to feel what lies behind them. As Anastasia spoke, she would either slow down her speech or quickly rattle off whole phrases at a time, or else suddenly fall silent for a moment, ponder something for a moment, and then pluck unfamiliar, drawn-out phrases literally out of the air. And occasionally, a word or two I had never heard before would weave their way into what she was saying. But each time she said an unclear or unknown word, she seemed to give a start and replace it with a correct or more understandable variant. And it always appeared as though she were trying to prove something whenever she talked of God. Everybody knows man is the image and likeness of God. But in what respect? Where are God's characteristic traits within you? Have you ever thought of that? No, not really, I admitted. Never had any occasion to. Why don't you describe them for yourself? When a man, exhausted after his daily cares, lies down to sleep, when he ceases to feel his weary body, his set of invisible energies and his second self leave the body to some degree. And at that moment, earthly limitations do not exist for them. They know no time or space. In less than a second, your consciousness crosses all the distances in the universe, and your complex of feelings, senses, past and future events analyzes them, measures them against the present day, and dreams on. All this means that man feels the unfathomable, divine, universal creation, not only with his flesh. His God-given thought is at work creating afresh. Human thought alone is capable of creating other worlds, or changing what has been created. Sometimes a person will cry out in their sleep when they are scared by something. Their complex of feelings, free from earthly cares, is frightened by events of the past or the future. Sometimes a person creates in their sleep. Their creations strive, quickly or slowly, to embody themselves in earthly form. And how ugly a form they take, or how harmoniously they shine forth, depends wholly or partly on the degree to which inspiration plays a role in their creations, on the degree to which all aspects are taken into account in all the accuracy and detail at the moment of creation, on the degree to which inspiration empowers your divine self. In the whole universe, creation is something inherent in God alone, and in God's Son, man. God's thoughts serve as a principle of all. His dream is transformed into living matter so that it may be seen, and human actions are preceded by the human dream. The opportunities for creation are equal for all the people of the earth. It is not only that people use their opportunities in different ways. Here man is accorded full freedom, and freedom he has. Tell me now, Vladimir, what kind of dreams do God's children have today? You yourself, your friends and acquaintances, for example. For what purpose do they use their creative dreams? What purpose do you use them for? Me? How do you mean? For what purpose? Just like everyone else. I've tried to make more money so I can... Vladimir makes me laugh, honestly. He's like this love and hate. Like, he wrote these books. Like, it's amazing what he's done. But he just makes me laugh. He's so... Anyway. Just like everyone else, I've tried to make more money so that I can somehow get my life on a solid footing. I got myself a car, several in fact, plus a lot of other things I need to get by. Good furniture, for example. And that is it? Is that all you have used your creative, God-given dream for? That's what just about everyone uses it for. For what? For money. How else can you live without money? To have a decent set of clothes to wear, to eat a little better, to buy things, get something to drink. What could be clearer than that? And you ask what for? Something to eat, something to drink, you realise, Vladimir, that all has been given to you and everyone in abundance right from the very beginning. Given? Well then, where did it disappear to after that? Think for yourself, where might it have gone? Well, I would imagine the original clothing simply got ragged and worn out, and the original food got eaten up aeons ago. Times are different now. Clothing fashions have changed, along with taste for food. Vladimir, God gave his Son indestructible garments, and his food reserves are not the kind that can ever be exhausted. So where's all this today? It has been preserved. It exists right now. And tell me where. Where do I find the hiding places, where so many supplies are stored up even today? You shall see, they shall be seen. Only look with your feelings. Only with your feelings will you be able to grasp the essence of the creation of God's dream. I gotta drink some water. What do you think? Is it good? I love it. I just love it. Ooh, it's cold. So it says on the back, Co-creation paints a dramatic living image of the creation of the universe and humanity's place in this creation, making this primordial mystery relevant to our everyday living today. Deeply metaphysical, yet at the same time down-to-earth practical, this poetic, heartfelt volume helps us uncover answers to the most significant questions about the essence of the universe and the purpose of our existence. It shows how and why the knowledge of these answers, innate in every human being, has become obscured and forgotten, and points the way towards reclaiming the wisdom in partnership with nature. Chapter 2. Chapter 2. Good for you. Thank you for the follows. Welcome. Slept by watching ASMR videos. Wonderful. I'm glad they could help you. Good night, Wolfie. Sleep well. Sleep well. The beginning of creation. Picture what it was like in the very beginning. There was as yet no earth. There was as yet no matter to reflect the light of the universe. No matter to reflect the light of the universe. Just pure light, basically. But still, even as now, the universe was filled with a great multitude of diverse energies. Living energy, elements thought in the dark and created in the dark. They needed no external light source. Within themselves, for themselves, they shone, and each contained everything, thought, feelings, and the energy of aspiration. Yet still there were differences among them. In each one, a single form of energy predominated, just as now the universe included an element of destruction. Wow. And an element which creates life. It's kind of interesting to think that even in the very beginning there was the light and the dark, the force of creation and the force of destruction. I guess really just masculine and feminine. Still there were different forces among them, in each a single form. In each one a single form of energy predominated, just as now the universe included an element of destruction, and other elements involved a multitude of various shadings, similar to human feelings. There was no way these elements of the universe could come into contact with each other. Within each element, multiple energies created movement, either languidly, creepingly, or all at once. Lightning swift on the dot. What was self-created within each one could also destroy itself on the spot. Their pulsations did not alter the cosmos. Visible they were not, and each considered that they were alone in space, alone. Uncertain of their purpose, they were unable to bring about any lasting creation that might give satisfaction. And so in time of stagnation without limitation, there were these pulsations. But there was no overall motion or action of any kind. And all at once, as by an impulse, each element was touched by communication. All of them at once, throughout the unfathomable universe, throughout those complexes of living energy, one suddenly began illuminating the rest. Whether the complex was old or young could not be expressed in ordinary tongues. Whether it arose from a vacuum of space or from the spark of all the possibilities one could imagine is not important. Whatever its semblance, the resulting complex bore a most striking resemblance to man. To man who is still living today, it was similar to his second self, not the material but the eternal, sacred self. The living energy of its aspirations and dreams first began to lightly touch all the elements of the universe. And he alone was so fervent in his devotion that he was able to bring all sensations and feelings into locomotion. The sounds of communication began to resound through the universe, and if the first sounds were to be expressed through translation into modern words, we would feel the sense of questions and answers. From all across the unfathomable universe, one question was uttered by all, addressed only to him. What do you do? What do you so fervently desire? Everyone inquired. And he, confident in his dream, replied, conjoint creation and joy for all from its contemplation. And what may bring joy to everyone in the universe? Birth. The birth of what? Each one of us has been self-sufficient for as long as we can recall. A birth in which will be included particles of all. How is it possible to reunite in a single whole that which is all destructive and all constructive at the same time? Through opposing forms of energy, after first bringing them into line, balancing them in oneself, you see. And to achieve this, who so strong would there be? Me. But there is the energy of doubt. Doubt will attempt to decoy and destroy you, and the diverse multitude of energies will tear you into tiny particles. No one can unite and hold opposites in a single whole. Thanks for the follow. Welcome. It's a nice hoodie. I know, right? It's awesome. Yeah, I'm really lucky it was a gift. What was I going to do? I forgot. Oh my god, this is riveting. But there is also the energy of confidence. When confidence and doubt are equal, they will facilitate exactitude and beatitude for future co-creation. Beatitude, what does that mean? I mean, I'm guessing it's like beautiful, but I don't know. Beatitude, aromatherapy, bath oils. That's not what we wanted. Or the 8 blessings recounted by what? Beatitude. Supreme blessedness or happiness. There we go. We got it. They will facilitate exactitude and beatitude for future co-creation. And how do you call yourself? I am God. Okay, I want to stop this just a second here because this was the question that I asked in my mind. I get the separate energy fields that are taking place in space, that are frustrated in their loneliness. Who are they addressing? Who is this him that they address? Is that energy? Is he energy as well? He's the one who sees the dream, who answers the dream. Is he made of the same energy as that? Anyway. And how do you call yourself? I am God. I shall be able to deploy particles of all your diverse energies within myself. I shall stay great. I shall create. To the whole universe, creation shall bring forth joy. From all quarters of the universe, all elements simultaneously release the multitude of their energies into him alone, and each endeavoured to gain ascendancy over the rest, so that it alone might establish itself as supreme in its new home. Thus began the great struggle of all the forms of energy in the universe. There is no measure of time or space to describe the scale of that struggle. Calm returned only when, in each one's consciousness, one fact gleamed: that nothing could be higher or stronger than the one energy of the universe, the energy of the divine realm. God possessed the energy of this dream. He was able to take in and compile all within himself, bring all into balance, reconcile opposites, and begin to create. And to create still within himself, indeed, in his creating of future creations still within himself, he cherished each detail with speed on measureless scale, and worked out the interrelationships with everything else for each and every creation. He did it all alone in the darkness of the unfathomable universe. Alone he set into motion the diverse energies of the whole universe. The uncertainty of the outcome frightened everyone and removed them a distance from the Creator. The Creator found himself standing in empty space, and that empty space was expanding. A deathly cold appeared. Dank fear and alienation held sway around, while he alone beheld the awesome dawn of each new day, heard the singing of birds, and breathed the sweet fragrance of the blossoming of the ground. With his fervent dream, he alone unfolded his marvellous creations in their sheen. Stop, they pleaded. You are an empty space. You are going to explode. How do you contain the energy within yourself? Nobody is helping you squeeze or contract, and now your only course is to explode. But if you have a moment remaining, stop. You must act to gently release your creative energies. And he replied, My dreams, I will not betray my pact with them. For them, I continue to contract and accelerate my energies, my powers, my dreams. In them I see the ants hurrying and scurrying across the grass among the flowers, and the eagle, his bold ascent into the sky, is teaching his young how to fly. With his own fathomable energy, God accelerated in himself the motion of all the diverse energies of the universe as a whole. Inspiration squeezed them into a small kernel of his soul. And all at once, he sensed a touch everywhere from all quarters in turn. He felt the burn of a new, unfamiliar energy, and then it withdrew to warm him with its warmth of a distance, filling all with some kind of new power. And all that was previously empty space suddenly began to radiate with grace. And the universe resounded Who are you? What kind of energy are you? And he heard the words of music in reply. The energy of love and inspiration am I. A particle of you is within me. It alone is able to restrain the cage, the energy of disdain, hatred, and rage. You are God. Your energy, the dream of your soul, has been able to bring everything into the harmony of the whole. And if my particle has been of assistance there, then hear me out, O God, and to help me be prepared. What do you desire? Why have you touched me with all the power of your fire? I have realized that I am love. I cannot remain simply a particle of. I desire to give my whole self to your soul. I know, so as not to disrupt the harmony of good and evil. You will not admit me as a whole, but I shall fill myself with the empty space around you. I shall warm with my cheer all the room within and around you. You shall not be touched by the cold of the universe and its gloom. It shall not even come near. What is going on here? What indeed? You have begun to shine even brighter. I'm not doing this alone. This is the presence of your energy, your soul. It is only being reflected by me. Your reflected light comes back to your invisible inner self. A flame with courage and inspiration, God, inspired by love, exclaimed. Everything is proceeding with acceleration. Everything is astir in me. Oh, how marvelous is inspiration here above. And how, and now, let the dreams of my creation come to fruition in most radiant love.